We prepared for this discussion. I'm Charlie Sykes. Sunday Insight starts right now. Good morning and welcome to Sunday Insight. In the week that was, the Packers roar back with a convincing win over the Lions. The Obamacare exchanges turn 3. NML announces big job cuts. Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele calls for a $60 wheel tax because taxes aren't high enough. A guilty verdict in the murder of Layla Peterson. And Congress hands President Obama his first veto override on a bill allowing 9/11 families to sue Saudi Arabia. But first, a tense and often combative 95 minutes. Clinton and Trump faced off for the first of 3 debates. Not much talk about Obamacare, immigration, or the national debt, but shots on trade, taxes, racism, and the weight of a former Miss Universe.
Her name is Alicia Machado.
Where did you find
and
it?
she has become a U.S. citizen, and you can bet she's going to vote this November.
Okay, good.
What were the names that he called you?
Miss Piggy, Miss Housekeeping, Miss Eating Machine.
After the debate, most scientific polls, not the online polls where you can vote multiple times, showed that voters thought that Clinton had won the face-off. On Wednesday, Trump campaigned in vote-rich Waukesha County, an obvious sign that he wants to put Wisconsin in play this November. Joining me on our panel this morning, the Milwaukee Community Journal's Michael Holt, former State Representative Michelle Litchens, Defense Attorney Dan Adams, and the President of Edge Messaging, Brian Fraley. Okay, so what happened with the debate? Does that actually make a difference in this campaign?
It's hard to say, right? Because this year has been so weird and so awful. I will say the first 15 minutes of that debate, I was saying to myself, you know what? Trump has the ability to cement a victory, not just in the debate, but in the election tonight. He came off strong. He was talking about issues people cared about. He was talking about the economy. He's talking about other things other than himself. Then she baits him on, maybe you're not as rich as you say, your daddy gave you $14 million, you won't file your taxes, and everything imploded. Okay,
I think what's extraordinary is that as of Friday morning, Donald Trump is still tweeting about the Miss Universe.
Yes.
I mean, think about all of the issues that are in play, all of the world issues, immigration, Obamacare, all of those things. He's tweeting about her, telling people to go look at her former sex tapes.
The campaign,
what is happening?
The campaign tactics are smart. Coming to Waukesha County this week, very, very smart, right? But anything that involves actually him, like waking up at 4:30 in the morning and sending out a tweet, when it's him, it's a mess, because that's what he is. He's a mess. Okay,
so from your side of the table as a Democrat, what did you think about that debate?
I actually agree with Brian. The first 15, 20 minutes, I mean, I was kind of in the fetal position because I saw somebody who was effectively communicating one issue, the NAFTA issue, the trade issue, which Hillary Clinton is very weak on in her base, working class people. But like Brian said, I mean, the wheels just came off. I thought that Hillary was really, she's not the most charismatic person, and she came off as not really likable in that way, but she was really strategic, she was calm, and she just kept laying out these traps that Trump kept falling into.
Okay, let's talk about Wisconsin. They're campaigning here, in Waukesha County. They wouldn't be here if they didn't think Wisconsin's in play. Is Wisconsin going to be in play, Michelle Litchens?
The Marquette poll shows that it is in play. Trump is only a few points down. We don't see the
almost none of the experts, though, listed as being a swing state.
Well, but it is a swing state. But we also know that Democratic base of minorities in Madison and in Milwaukee are not inspired this year to turn out for Hillary Clinton. We know that Trump has a challenge by inspiring southeastern Wisconsin to turn out and vote strong for him. But we know there are a lot of conservative voters in the state. I'm also very surprised that Hillary Clinton isn't here. So I'm wondering if either the Democrats just assume that they're going to landslide the state of Wisconsin. Why isn't she paying
How is the whole Miss
here?
Piggy, Miss Universe thing playing out among women voters?
Among the women that have already bought into Donald Trump, they're just writing it off because they understand how he is. But the independent women voters, this is really affecting him. Women kind of coalesce around each other when someone is called names. We even stood up for Rosie O'Donnell when Donald Trump called her names.
I just don't understand. He's got some smart people around him. Like, just explain to him, look, a 70-year-old billionaire who is 30-some days away from a presidential election should not be talking about whether a beauty queen is too fat. Michael Holt.
Absolutely. I think the key defining moment in the debate to me was
when he actually stood there and said he has better temperament than Hillary. I mean, everybody was laughing at that. Temperament and stamina. You know, the real Donald Trump, I mean, a lion, you know, a leopard doesn't change his spots. He came out as the real Donald Trump. So all of this consulting, all of this makeover, you know, apparently he was homeschooled because he didn't go to
But Dan
debate
Adams
class.
is right, and so is Brian Fraley when he makes a point. I actually thought that Donald Trump could have won the presidential election on Monday. He was trending well in the polls. He was competitive at the battleground states. If he turned in a strong performance, he could have put this election away. He can still win this election on the issues. If Donald Trump wins, he's going to win on the change issue, on issues like immigration and trade. He will lose it, though, if this is a referendum on his personality, his character, his judgment, and all of those things. And why they have not taken away his Twitter account, I do not know. What is your glass half full? What is your glass half empty? Let's go around the table. Michael Holt, you're first.
Well, mine's half full because the Massachusetts State Court ruled a black man running from police may be doing so because, quote, recurring indignity of being racially profiled and justifiable fear of police, not because he committed a crime. My glass is half empty because I would never advise my sons to run from police. It's safer for them to lay in a fetal position and pray the cops don't assume they have a gun.
Michelle Hitchens.
All right. My glass is half empty because Madonna tweeted a half-naked picture of herself saying, "Vote naked for Hillary." But it's half full because at age 58, she realized she might not gain votes for Hillary by being naked, and she removed the tweet.
Dan Adams.
My glass is half full because MPS and Milwaukee County have done a good job to reduce their unfunded pension liabilities. An unsexy but important thing to do. Under former board president Michael Bonds, MPS reduced its liabilities by over $1 billion. And under Executive Abley, the county has cut its liabilities by $500 million. My glass is half empty because the city of Milwaukee hasn't followed this trend and has actually increased their unfunded pension liabilities.
Brian Fraley.
My glass is half empty because there's no Packer game today, but it's half full because the early bye week gives a battered defense a chance to heal.
Well, my glass is half full because Senator Ron Johnson is pushing legislation that would allow terminally ill patients to try drugs that are in the regulatory pipeline. It's half empty because Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid killed that bill because he was worried that it might hurt Democrat Russ Feingold. And you wonder why people hate Washington politics? Our Sunday Insight Countdown shows the one and only vice presidential debate between Mike Pence and Tim Kaine is 2 days away. The next presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump is a week from today. The final debate is 17 days away. We elect the next president in 37 days. And either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton will take the oath of office in 110 days. And as we go to break, Clinton and Trump talk about the final weeks of the campaign.
The next 40 days will determine the next 40 years. So I'm going to close my campaign the way I started my public service and my career, fighting for kids and families. That's been the cause of my life, and it will be the mission of my presidency.
So we have 6 weeks to make every dream you ever dreamed for your country come true. You have one last magnificent chance to deliver justice for every forgotten man and forgotten woman and child in this nation.
Welcome to Milwaukee, Mr. Fagan. Peter Fagan is the president of the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, the team that got $250 million from taxpayers to help them build a new arena. Fagan made news for remarks he made in a speech in Madison about his new hometown. Here's what Fagan said. Very bluntly, Milwaukee is the most segregated, racist place I've ever experienced in my life. It just is a place that is antiquated and is in desperate need of repair, and has happened for a long, long time. Well, last week, Fagan tried to clarify his remarks, saying, I was addressing a question about the social, economic, and geographic divides that exist and how we can help address them. It wasn't my intention to characterize the general community as overtly racist. And Adams.
Well, without getting into exactly whether he was right or wrong, I think he was wrong. I think we have huge racial divides, but I don't think we're overtly racist people. I will say this. I went to a talk that Alex Lasry, the Suns owner, gave last year, and he talked about trying to recruit, I think it was Greg Monroe or somebody, and going out and bringing him into Milwaukee. Oh, Milwaukee's such a great place.
This'll help, yeah.
How are we going to recruit not just basketball players, but top levels of talent for all of our industries when we have a community member, leader, going out and saying that we're overtly racist and the worst in the country?
Okay, Brian Fraley. What?
I may agree with them.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not saying I do, but we have an issue with race in this community. We segregate ourselves. We segregate ourselves ideologically too, but we have pockets of deep poverty. We have segments of society that have been failed by generation and generation of Democratic leaders in this
Most
city.
Racist, though. He didn't just say segregated. He said
well, and that's where I don't know where else he's lived or what else he's experienced, so I can't say that.
Okay, Michael.
You sure you want to ask me this question?
I do want to ask you this question, Michael.
He was absolutely, positively correct. And one reason why we continue to have this status as the worst place in the United States of America for black people is because too many people keep hiding their heads in the sand.
We're the most racist city.
It's the most racist city I've ever been into.
More than Charlotte, more than Chicago?
Oh, absolutely.
More than New York? More than...
Absolutely. We're the most segregated, and nobody denies that. We got the highest black male incarceration rate in the United States of America.
Well, quit electing the same leaders.
Between white and black
What is the most, give me an example of how we are more racist than any other city in America. Give me an example. What do we do?
What do we do?
Yeah, what makes us so racist?
Look at some of the statistics. Why do we have the highest black incarceration rate in the United States?
Maybe there's a lot of crime here.
Oh, so there's more crime here than Mississippi and Alabama and New York?
And so they do have the highest.
Here was I guess my problem is that Peter Fagan has been here for what, about 15 minutes, and he spent most of that time shaking down the taxpayers, to pay $250 million for his sports palace. If in fact we have all these terrible problems, then maybe we should have spent that money on something other than a new Bucks arena. But there's something about having a member of the family. We're all Milwaukeeans. We've been here a very, very long time. You can criticize your brother. I can criticize my cousin, but we don't want somebody from the outside to do it. Is that too parochial? But the other thing is, though, there's just that sort of that arrogance that, hey, you know what, we New York billionaires are going to be able to come in here and we're going to fix the problems that you redneck rubes were not able to fix.
I don't think he was going that far.
It sure sounded like that to me.
He was asked a question. He responded to the question. He could have lied. He should not have said it, because it has generated all this controversy. But the reality is, this is a serious problem, and Milwaukee needs to address it.
Yeah, but I think we need to address it, but the guy that just basically, sucked that much money out of this community's pockets for a basketball arena is probably not the guy who should be lecturing us about it. You may not want to hear it, but we will tell you anyway. Let's hand out some unsolicited advice. Michael Holt, you're first.
Well, mine are to the county supervisors. Before you consider a wheel tax to pay for transit, maybe you should consider tearing down the Estabrook Park Dam and rescinding those costly free bus rides nobody asked for.
Michelle Litchens.
To Donald Trump, please prepare for your next debate. Your supporters deserve some effort on your part, and it might even increase your chances to win.
Dan Adams.
My advice is for Republicans like Lieutenant Governor Clayfish. If you really want to wade into racial politics, don't just talk to white audiences in places like Pewaukee. Try coming to Milwaukee.
And Brian Fraley.
Well, to my good friend Donald Trump, 5 a.m. tweets encouraging people to check out someone else's sex tape might not be the best way to win over undecided suburban women.
Well, my unsolicited advice, and I think I have said this before, please, will someone take away Donald Trump's Twitter account before he attacks another judge, Gold Star mother, beauty queen, or starts a thermonuclear war. Next on Sunday Insight, why UW-Madison objected to an Amazon.com drop-off point on campus. A safe space at UW-Madison will stay safe or something. The university had hoped to locate a new Amazon.com drop-off point on campus. It'd be kind of convenient, but the issue drew opposition from groups who objected to locating it in the so-called Red Gym. which houses a number of student groups. In a letter to the school's chancellor, critics said the Amazon pickup point, quote, sends an unfortunate message to the campus community during a time of already heightened awareness relating to campus inequities. And last week, UW officials caved, saying they would find another place that didn't interfere with any safe spaces on campus. Michelle Litton.
But they also went on to say that the university staff was so disappointed that the chancellor didn't discuss this with them first, because the chancellor is not supposed to do anything without talking to the Senate faculty or the students about this issue, which is utterly ridiculous. I'm so excited to watch this all happen to their campus, because you know what? The students wanted this. The students want an Amazon drop-off center there, but you know, the bureaucracy got in the way.
So, Dan Adams, snowflakes get their way.
Evidently. Well, I mean, listen, there is a procedure and a process for these big processes to happen on campus. They didn't follow it. They tried to do a top-down, and unfortunately, it's not going to work. Now, I don't think Amazon's going to have any trouble.
I have no idea what you just said there.
It's always shared governance.
Mistakes were made. What?
Essentially, listen, Amazon's going to have their center. Yeah. The university's going to make a lot of money on commissions for selling stuff through it, whether it's at Bowser's Castle
But it's this whole notion that, oh, we have these centers and the students will come and they'll come into our building and we will become uncomfortable. This notion that on a university campus you might actually run into students who are not like you or doing something.
About, or is this about an Amazon contract?
Well, it's anti-capitalism, right? Amazon's a big company, so it's an anti-capitalism bent. It's whining about this shared governance thing where, you know, they think their campus is like this model UN where they actually, for some reason, have power just because they're there, and that the chancellor shouldn't be able to make any decisions. I mean, if you wanted to argue about the legitimacy of this because it wasn't open bidding and allowed other companies to maybe have something else.
Is this part of it, though? I mean, is that you have an evil, private company?
It's anti-capitalism.
That some of you get like what, free market cooties or something?
Absolutely. Oh, no, because some people may feel unequal because some people may be picking up more packages than others.
Okay, so what is it you don't get? Let's go around the table. Michael Holt, you go first.
What I don't get is why people are mad at Bucks owner Peter Fagan for describing Milwaukee as the most segregated and racist city he's ever visited. Hell, everybody I know who visits or even reads about Milwaukee says the same thing.
Michelle Litchens.
Well, I don't get how Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele can in good conscience ask for a wheel tax on car owners to subsidize mass transit that has fewer riders this year than last year.
Dan Adams.
I don't get State Senator Bob Wirtsch's proposal to sell Wisconsin's historic governor's mansion to pay for, I don't know, half a mile of highway expansion in Kenosha. Senator Wirtsch, our transportation mess needs serious proposals, not more grandstanding.
Brian Fraley.
Charlie, what I don't get is why Ron Johnson isn't hammering Russ Feingold for his decisive vote on Obamacare. Feingold's the reason we have this mess. Make him own it.
Well, what I don't get, I just mentioned this, is why so many university students think they should be protected from ideas they don't like and people that they haven't met before. Isn't that what universities are supposed to be about? Next on Sunday Inside, our panel picks the winners and losers of the week. But first, here's your morning news update. It's time for our panel to pick the winners and losers of the week. Michael Holt, you're first.
For my losers, Chief Ed Flynn's plan to have police officers from surrounding areas investigate Milwaukee police shootings doesn't pass the impartiality test. My winner is Hillary Clinton. She easily won the debate. In fact, she didn't have to say a word. Just wait for Donald Trump to open his big mouth.
Michelle Litchens.
UW-Madison's administration is the loser. Not only are they reducing their full-time student employees to a 29-hour work week in order to comply with Obamacare, but they are pleading with Congress to give universities an exemption from the laws. Typical liberal move. The winner this week is Charlie Sykes in Wright, Wisconsin, for an outstanding award dinner Friday night at a time when conservatives don't always agree on our candidates, but we do agree that Governor Thompson, Mary Kohler, and Susan Mitchell and others need to be recognized for their conservative contributions to Wisconsin.
Dan Adams.
My winner is Hillary Clinton. Her debate performance wasn't amazing, but she did demonstrate stability and calm. Personally, I think she used Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope strategy of letting Trump punch himself out before dominating him. My loser is Wells Fargo CEO John Stumpf, who still claims that the banking giant's fraud was because of a few bad apples. When 5,000 employees are committing fraud, that's company culture, and culture starts in the C-suite.
Brian Fraley.
My winners are the thousands of Wisconsinites who attended the 70 turnout for transportation public hearings last Thursday night. While many politicians want to kick the can down the pothole-filled road, citizens are demanding they just fix it. My losers, Cub fans. Sure, you feel good now, but that's only going to make the looming collapse hurt that much more.
Well, my winner, I certainly agree with Michelle. Congratulations to all of Friday night's winners, and a special note about the late Terry Kohler, who passed away last week. He was a philanthropist, a businessman, activist, avid sailor and pilot. Terry Kohler exemplified a life well lived, and he will be missed. Loser, the voters, who are getting one of the most content-free, personally nasty, and dumbed-down campaigns in political history. But at least it's almost over, right? Thanks for joining us and joining me for my radio show Monday morning on News Radio 620 WTMJ from 8:30 until noon. Have a great week.